So, welcome everyone. This is the Kriya for energizing the self, two short Kriyas, and then also a Kriya for self reliance. They're pretty powerful together. They have a full body workout and nice breaks for mindfulness to observe mind, to observe emotions. So, let's sit up tall, preparing our bodies, our minds, connecting with spirit. I'll mute everyone. So as soon as we're sitting up tall and closing the eyes, the body knows we're about to practice yoga, which is much more than asana, much more than the postures. We're connecting to our breath, our pranayama, our life force. Scan your body. How does it feel this morning? Sunday, February 7th, 2021. It's the week 47 since the COVID shutdown, or day 330 of our yoga challenge. Scan your body, scan your emotional state, just checking in so you have some comparison as you move through the practice. Be conscious of your third eye, that seat of intuition. We're asking for it to be open. That internal guidance system is always communicating with us. We just aren't always hearing it or feeling it. Let's bring our hands to prayer position for the Anjali Mudra, and then we'll recite the Adi Mantra. So pressing into the palms, you can make it a quite active Anjali Mudra. 3 big inhale exhales before we do the Ong Namo Gurudev Namo, connecting with your higher self. Adi Mantra, big inhale. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. Connecting with your breath, knowing that throughout the practice, one of your main intentions is to stay connected with your breath. So open the eyes, we'll move right into a down dog, or right into all fours to first warm up the spine a bit. Maybe moving the hips around, you're on your knees, you're just doing some nice circles with the hips. Then moving into a few cat-cows to warm up the spine. So for our warm-up, we're going to try to use a chair and a couple blocks. So the best place for a chair to be safe is against the wall, like I have it here, or have your chair and sit it on your mat. Just make sure the the legs aren't going to skid because we're going to be leaning on it with our arms in a plank pose. So you want that chair secure. Also, we'll have 2 blocks ready for what Dr. Baxter Bill calls a fractured sun salutation. So you can just come up onto the toes of your feet. You're in a really low bend here. That'll be pretty hard for you, Carol. So just come up to a squat like that. Yes. And then slowly we're pushing up. Let's step to the end of your, well, to the front of your mat. So you're going to be right in front of your blocks. So we're going to do the sun salutation, Surya Namaskar A, with the blocks. It makes it so much easier. You can do, we'll break it down in 2 halves. So look, you're close to your blocks. I'm going to sweep my arms up like I'm greeting the morning, holding a great big beach ball. Inhaling, exhale, swan dive forward, bend the knees, take the buttocks back. My hand comes right to the top of my block. I step back with my right foot. I'm in a nice high lunge. The blocks give me all the support. I can really feel free to move them around so they're right under your shoulders. I have mine in the high position, but whatever position works for you, you could experiment and try them lower. See what gives you the best stretch. We're holding this as a static pose. So I'm drawing my heel, that back right heel, to the mat. You feel it stretch out the calf, the hamstrings, the quads. Imagine that calf muscle lengthening and widening. It's interesting to give your mind the volitional control of the muscle. Ask the muscle to spread wide and long. Static poses help build muscle strength, help build bone strength. And you're working on your shoulders here and arms as you're pushing down into your blocks, so that's good for your heart muscle. Keep breathing long and deeply. Big inhale. Exhale, step forward. Step back with the right foot now. Again, feel the stretch. Maybe you want to move that right front foot so the knee is right over the ankle. That left foot, bring the heel down towards the mat. Really helps stretch out all the leg muscles. Again, envision that calf muscle lengthening and widening. Feel your shoulders, the ball and socket joint of your shoulder, just like your hip, another ball and socket joint. Okay, big inhale. Exhale, step forward. Now step back with the right foot. We'll do some fast moves. Stepping back, stepping forward. Take the left foot, stepping back, stepping forward. Just practice that a few times. Staying connected to your shoulders. Now come back both feet. We're going to take the hands off the block. Take the hands to the mat. Sweep for hands up. I'm greeting the morning sun. Holding that great big beach ball. Hands cup up over my head. Exhale, swan dive forward again. Bend the knees. Hands to the blocks. This time come back with both feet and you'll do a plank pose with the blocks. It's easier to do them on the blocks than if you were on the mat, right? Because it raises you off. It makes it easier for the shoulders. Good for heart health again. And step forward with the left foot. Step forward with the right. And come to standing. So now step to the back of your mat. And we're going to try the second half of a sun salutation. The way we'll do it is we'll just walk our hands towards the front of the mat. So sweep the arms up, the same kind of greeting the morning sun. Exhale, swan dive forward, bend the knees, let the tips of the fingers come to the mat. Then I'm just walking forward onto my mat, onto my hands, and I'm in a downward facing dog. You can walk out your dog. If this is hard on your wrists, you could come down onto your knees, come onto your forearms, push up, and you're in a down dog in a forearm plank, so to speak. Holding your dog at any time, you can drop your knees. Now, if you're in down dog, let's walk the fingertips back to the feet and just stand here, hanging the arms down in a nice forward lunge inversion, Uttanasana. The heart doesn't have to pump the blood up to the head. Feel your diaphragm on your inhales pushing into your thighs, into your quads. Let's grab the back of the feet. So I'm grabbing right around my Achilles tendon and my heels. I'm keeping my chin on my sternum, my chest. Then I'm slowly bringing my hands up the back of my calves, behind my knees, feeling my hamstrings coming up to the buttocks. My head will be the last thing to come up. I'll be standing in Tadasana, big toes touch, heels slightly separated, just observe. You come out of an inversion. The baroreceptors in the aortic arch in the heart and in the carotid artery are adjusting your blood pressure. Okay, open the eyes. Let's come to the chair. Depending on the style of your chair, you can hold it at the sides. I think you can see this, or you could have your hands flat down on the seat. Just make sure again that it's secure. You don't want the chair to go sliding. You'd become crashing down, and then you'd get to use proprioception and exteroception to save yourself from the fall. So just step back. Your arms are really extended on the chair seat. So it's really like when we come into those long flat back poses where I ask you, you could put a tray on your back. It's that kind of pose. You're hinging from the hips, so you feel that the hip flexors, you feel the pelvis, you feel the extended joints of the armpits with the shoulder ball and socket joint. Now, if you want to turn it into a plank pose, just step back a little more and come forward onto the chair seat. My mat started to shift, so you have to be careful with that. So it's teaching you to work with irregular surfaces, which is what happens when we're in the real world. Off your mat. So I'm just holding my plank. Step a little bit forward. Let's move into a side plank. So I take my left hand to the center of the chair. I turn out to the lateral outside of my left foot, and I can bring my hand up by my ear. It can be straight up. Generally, side planks are very hard to do on your mat, but using a chair, you really get many of the same benefits: shoulder strength, balance. And if you take the arm up over the shoulder, you get a nice stretch in the intercostal muscles. Now let's come around onto the toes. Take both hands to the mat. So step back. You'll just be kind of in between a plank and a downward facing dog, walking out the knees before you prepare for the opposite side. Then take the right hand to the middle of the chair. I'm coming to the outside of my right foot, and voila, I'm in plank pose, side plank pose. Really great for shoulder strength, arm strength. Maybe you take your hand to your waist. And now come back to center. Let's stretch it out, both hands on the chair seat. You're just got this long, flat back. You could set a tray on your back. Walking out your knees, feeling both heels coming to the mat. Then maybe take your fingers to the floor and just slowly climb back up. We'll practice a little balance pose before we go into the Kriya. We always want to do some balance work every day. So we'll keep it simple. Let's ground. You could have your chair close by. You're just going to ground this left foot. I'm going to take my hands to my waist. I'm just going to pick up my right and do some nice rounds with my knee and my ankle and my foot. Really good balance work here. Everybody's doing great. You really have to keep that left leg strong and take it down, shake it out. Let's pick up the left leg and same thing, beginning to do some nice rounds. Maybe you can get your ankle involved. Go both directions. So getting some nice hip flexor movements, knee, ankles. That right leg is super strong and you're balancing on one foot. Good morning, Ann Lindsay. Good morning, Susan. And take it down. Let's come to Tadasana, big toes touch, heels slightly separated. Close the eyes, arms at the side, palms forward, shoulders down, relaxed, face relaxed. Feel this home base. Just try to lean forward on your toes with your eyes closed. Keep the heels grounded. See how far you can bend forward. It's like you're one of those ski jumpers in the Olympics and you're shooting out of the chute. The ski tips are pointed up. The body is leaned forward as much as it can and you're flying through the air. Come back to center. Try to extend back. So you try to keep the heels and the toes grounded and you're extending back as much as you can without losing your balance. Then try to go to the left. Try to go to the right. And shake it out. And let's begin the Kriya. So you're going to come down to your mat in an easy pose. We're starting the Kriya for energizing the self. We've been doing this all week. And it truly does, with this body pounding, it does definitely energize you. Do a little music during this. So you're going to make a fist with your thumb inside. You're going to take the back of this right hand and you're going to pound from the wrist to the forearm. We're going to do it for 2 minutes. So I'm pounding, changing arms, just go back and forth. Back of the hand, pounding from the wrist to the elbow crease and back. Close the eyes, begin to feel what's happening in your body. It does begin to energize you. In this Kriya, we'll be pounding the forearms, the thighs, the shoulders. Keep the hips relaxed. No need to grip. Thirty more seconds. And take the hands down. Just observe, palms down on the knees. Just feel the effects. Stay in easy pose, or you can move to Virasana, rock pose on your heels, sitting on your heels. I like to bring a blanket between my hips and my heels. We're moving right into spinal flexes. So my hands are resting on my thighs. Think cat-cow. Inhaling cow. Bringing the belly forward, chin forward. Exhaling cat. The chin comes to the sternum. Rounding the spine back. All the breath through the nose. No mouth breathing in Kundalini Yoga or in the world of James Nestor and breath. It's time for me to read that book again. Just 2 minutes of cat-cows, spinal flex. Keep the eyes closed, go within. Good work, everyone. Everybody's being very mindful. And come back to center. Hands resting on thighs, just observe. Now we begin the 2 minutes of more energizing work. Palms are flat, close together, and we're striking the thighs. So yeah, Carol, that's right. Just take your legs straight out. If Virasana is hard for you, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Keep the eyes closed. You don't need the eyes or vision to do this posture. You can better experience your interoception, being inside. One more minute. You're breathing pretty fast now, so you're increasing heart rate. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. The cue says we're slapping the sex meridians. Everything's enlivening. And take the arms down, rest on the thighs, palms down, just observe. Take the hands to the waist. These are a spinal flex as well. My inhale, I try to bring my elbows so they touch each other, bringing my scapula close together. That's my inhale. My exhale, I'm bringing the elbows forward, rounding the spine like a cat pose, drawing the belly towards the spine. Inhale, my cow. Exhale, my cat. So really get the spine involved, rounding it as well as bringing the scapula close together. This is a great posture. 2 minutes. All the breath through the nose. So great for the spine and the shoulders. Everything is stretching and opening. And you've got the deep breathing, the pranayama work happening with it. You could do a slight bandha squeeze. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha is working at the core. Really trying to round the spine. When the elbows come forward, I'm rounding the spine like cat pose. Here it's cow. I've got kyphosis happening. Normally there's lordosis in the lower spine, but when I go into cat, I'm pushing the lower lumbar out instead of coming in. And we've done our 2 minutes. Just observe. Does your spine feel more open? Now we're moving back to easy pose, or you can stay in Virasana. More energizing of the body. We're going to do 2 shoulder rounds. So I bring the shoulders forward from the back, up and around. Then I do 2 slaps. Alternate arms, back to 2 rounded shoulders. You can do these at your own pace. 2 minutes. Again, you can keep the eyes closed. Feel how your body is experiencing the slaps, the shoulder, lifting the shoulders up and rounding them. So you're practicing interoception, proprioception. How does your body feel in space when these arms are swinging forward? Exteroception. How does your body feel sitting on the mat? What's making contact? One more minute. Couple more rounds. Last round. Now just observe, take the hands down on the knees. Does the body feel enlivened, energized? Open the eyes. We're moving into Utkatasana, some chair poses. So I've got my chair here, so I'm going to use it kind of as a prop, meaning can I get my buttocks down to the chair? You know, chair pose is basically this. It's like we're sitting back. So I'm going to use the chair and see if my buttocks actually will reach the chair. The first posture, left hand is just over right. The 2 palms are just sitting on top of each other. So my mudra is that. My arms are straight out in front of me. I'm going to inhale, exhale. I'm going to try to get my butt all the way to the chair. Up and down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Make sure it feels okay on your knees. If there's any pain, immediately stop. And maybe you only bend just an inch or so. You're working your core. And we're good. That's 1 minute of these. Shake it out. We have 3 postures in chair pose. So now I'm going to make a Venus mudra with all 10 fingers engaged. They're coming up over my head. I'm going to keep them over my head. My feet are still about hip width distance apart. And I'm continuing with this chair pose. Inhaling, exhaling down. Maybe I can get my buttocks down and touch the chair. Trying to keep my spine long. My gaze is about 4 feet in front of me on the mat. Trying to keep the neck long. Wow, you're doing great. You all really have strong cores, or you couldn't do these. Just 2 more. And come up, shake it out. We have one last posture, squatting, building quads, buttocks. Okay, I'm gonna interlace my fingers behind my back. All 10 fingers interlaced, Venus Mudra. So it's the same thing. I'm inhaling, exhaling, bringing my arms back. Maybe I can almost touch my chair. Keep the back as flat as you can. Spine long, cervical spine. Be aware of the placement of your head. The chair really makes me go deeper, and it gives me security, so I can do more of these than if I didn't have the chair. Okay, let's come up. Good job. That's a lot of Utkatasana. Shake out the legs, shake out the arms. Maybe we do a few light bulb twists, a few queen waves, the hallelujahs over the head, shaking out the wrists, shaking out the legs. Because now we're going to come back to our mats for this 3 minutes of meditation. The mudra, you might want to drink of water. That was a lot of activity. So we've had all this activity, which is interesting to observe the mind. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha in Sanskrit means yoga is the quieting of the fluctuations of the mind. So the mudra, I bring my 10 fingers together. Then I try to bring the fingers closer together, but the palms are open. It's right at my heart center. I try to keep my elbows parallel, my elbows and my forearms, parallel to the floor. Close the eyes. Just breathe. Stay connected to your inhale and exhales through the nose, long and deep. Observe your emotion. What was your last thought? Which sense is most active? Where is your breath? You're in control of your breath. One more minute. All the movement prepared you for this posture. And slowly take the hands down. Rest in Gyan Mudra, thumb, index finger, back of hand on thigh. Just observe. Lengthen your spine, the superhighway. So we've ended this Kriya, the first Kriya for energizing the self. Now we're moving into the second short Kriya for self-reliance. So we're going to have 4 modifications of boat pose, Navasana. I like to use a block here. I like to place it between my adductors, the insides of the thighs. The first position, my hands are behind my hips, fingers forward. So I think most everybody can do this, although if you have a lower lumbar issue or you had a hernia or any issues in your abdominal area, then I would just lie back. You'll know what you can or can't do. But this pose just begins with lifting the legs up so my feet and calves are parallel to the floor. I'm balancing on my hips. That's why it's called boat pose. Supposedly, like if we were in water, we would be floating here. So just keep breathing into it. Feel your core. And come down. As we amplify the pose, you can just stay in this first position and not do any more, not do any of the add-ons. It's up to you. So now I'm going to lean back. I'm going to pull my legs up to 90 degrees. Now I'm going to lift my arms up, palms open, parallel to the floor. Just breathing long and deep, and I'm using that block to squeeze my adductors. It actually makes it a little bit easier to control the legs and come down. It's always nice to grab behind the legs too and come down. Rest for a moment. Now we're going to do Ardha Navasana. Ardha means half in Sanskrit. So I'm going to lie back and I'm just going to bring my shoulders up, about, 6 inches, 8 inches, and my feet about 6 or 8 inches. I'm still squeezing the block. So it's a lower profile of the pose. And grab under the thighs, come back up. Now we're going to go into the full Navasana, Pudipana, meaning full expression. So actually we come into this V. So if you're game, if not, just do one of the earlier versions. So I'm going to inhale. And with my breath, I'm coming up to a full expression. Arms are still parallel to the floor, but the feet are higher. The body is higher, squeezing my block. And come down. Good job. Let's move into Dandasana, staff pose. Just grounding the hips here. Pushing down into the mat. Now we're going to go into 3 minutes of holding this Paschimottanasana. So I'm grabbing my big toes. My elbows are coming closer to my knees. I'm just bending forward. I'm going to let the fascia release. Fascia, Fascia. It's wrapped around everything in the body. Organs, muscles, tendons, ligaments. It's a tissue that is malleable to some degree beyond volitional control. You can ask your muscles to relax, but you can't ask fascia to relax. But it does move as the muscles relax. The fascia moves in relation to it. So as things release, you'll find yourself, maybe the legs will get straighter and straighter. Maybe the elbows come a little bit closer to the knees, and maybe someday the forehead reaches the knees. It's organic. You can't force it. Just breathe into it long and deeply. This is a yin pose. You feel the back begin to open up the longer you stay here. Lumbar, thoracic, intercostals around the ribs. Two minutes, one more minute to go. Ask the muscles to relax and release. What's happening inside of you? Where are you feeling this in terms of interoception? What's releasing? What's still tight? Now grab onto the ankles, really press down into the shins, the big tibia bone, coming across the knees, thumbs coming across those adductors, fingers feeling the abductors on the outside of the hip. Maybe massage this big gluteus medius muscle here beside your hips. Hands come down to the floor, flex the feet, legs are straight. So you're in your Dandasana, staff pose. Spine is really long. Great place to feel that superhighway. Now let's come back into Virasana. So I'm sitting on my heels again, or easy pose. Or you could have your legs straight out in front of you, or you could even sit in a chair. So many options. Whatever it feels right for your body today. Now we're moving into some spinal flexes. Lots of spinal flexing in these two kriyas. So think cat. Spine is rounded behind me. Think cow. I'm coming forward, dropping the spine. And the cow, Belly's coming forward. Cap, the spine is rounding. Long, deep breathing through the nose. Last 30 seconds, make them really purposeful. Try to make really good form. Kundalini Yoga primarily focuses on spinal health. That spine is open and free for the prana to move, for the electrical energy to communicate to the brain, up and down the spine through all 7 chakras. Good job. You've come to your 2 minutes. Now we're going to come back into an easy pose, or you can stay in Virasana. Another meditation. Or you can come into half lotus. Half lotus is when this foot comes up onto the thigh. You can't force that though, it just comes with time. Another mudra that I'm pushing really firmly into my hands. My forearms are parallel to the floor, so it's very active, pushing strongly into prayer. My eyes are closed or looking just straight down at the mat, top of my mat, eyes open about 1/10. 3 minutes. I'll play a Satnam chant of Sanatana Kaur. Satnam, my truth is my identity. slowly take the hands down to the knees. We're moving into these side bends now for 2 minutes. It's not a Sufi grind. We're just taking the rib cage side to side, isolating, moving from the waist. It's incredible. The spine can move from side to side like this. Try to isolate the movement just at the waist. Trying to keep the shoulders fairly flat. You're learning how to isolate body parts. Create flexibility in specific body parts. Richard is frying, sauteing onions. It smells so good. I wish you were here. You'd all be getting hungry. Okay, coming back to center. Grab your ankles or shins, whatever you can get a hold of. And we do our last spinal flexes. They're a little more challenging to do in this position, but just do what you can. You've really worked your spine today. When you come into the cat, try to bring the chin to the chest. When you come to the cow, bring the chin forward. Inhaling as the belly comes forward, exhaling as the diaphragm contracts. Okay, come back to center. Just sit for a few moments, observe. Your palms can just rest closed circuit, down on the knees. Maybe you need a drink of water. Last posture. We're doing these easy neck rounds, trying to keep the shoulders down and isolated and relaxed. I'm inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam as I come to my right. Inhaling Sat as I go left, exhaling Nam right. Just go as far as is comfortable on the neck. inhaling to the left, exhaling to the right, all through the nose. Shoulders are relaxed. Hips relaxed. Just come back to center now and let the chant wash over you. Now you're going to come down into a reclined, using your chair, a restorative pose, where you'll sit in front of your chair. I like to use a blanket under my head. You're going to bring the legs up onto the chair. You can spread them, the knees wide if you'd like. You might make sure it's comfortable for you. Every chair is different. Maybe you need a blanket on the chair underneath your legs, or maybe you even need something under your hips. Just use whatever props you need to be comfortable. Or if you don't have a chair, I see Carol, I think she's going to do legs up against the wall. Yes, she's in her new house with no furniture. So she's going to do legs up against the wall, which that works just as well. So you're going to get a 6-minute Shavasana. Let everything go. It's your pause for the day. Maybe your arms can come out to a T. You can take the arms over your head. They can be at your side, or you could rest one hand on your chest, one hand on your abdomen. I'll bring you back with the bell. Begin to breathe together, inhaling through the nose. Open the mouth, big exhale with the audible sigh. Ah. Again through the nose. Audible sigh. Ah. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Ah. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe you can move the ankles and the wrists. You have a little more constriction on the chair. To dismount from the chair, it's easiest to just try to roll over onto your right side and come down into a fetal position. You can use your hands as a pillow and just rest, knees drawn into chest. The state of pratyahara, being within. Your parasympathetic nervous system is operating, rest and digest. You're safe, secure. Then use the palm of your left hand to push yourself back up into a seated position. Easy pose of Virasana for our closing song. Longtime Sun, our prayer of protection. Maybe roll out the spine a bit since we didn't come out of our normal, we didn't get our normal stretching coming out of Shavasana. Bringing hands to prayer. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Medea. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Gadget. She's so happy today. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Ann Lindsay. Thank you, Margaret, who had to leave a little early. Let's sing the Longtime Sun. May the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Satnam, Satnam, Satnam. We bow to each other, take the thumbs to the third eye, conscious of that internal guidance system. It's always operating. We bow to each other and we say, Satnam.